What's up guys, MizzoFrizzo from Pitchfork Academy here, and in this Unreal Engine 5 tutorial I'm going to show you how to swap your mannequin out for a metahuman when you've already got significant functionality built into your mannequin's blueprint. So say for example you've got a BP third person character with some weapon system stuff already built into it, and you want to swap that mannequin out for a metahuman while retaining that functionality. This is the tutorial for you. So this project is one from my weapon systems tutorials. So as you can see here, I've got some weapon system stuff already built in, and I'm going to show you how to easily swap a character out with a metahuman and retain all that functionality. So as I said, I've got this weapon system stuff. I've also got foot IK working on this metahuman, and this is all very, very easy to set up. But do be warned, guys, if you're going to perform this on a project that you've been working on for quite some time, make sure you back up whatever you need to back up. Make a duplicate of the project if you need to, or duplicate any assets before you make any changes, because I would not want you to, mess up any of the work that you've done so far. But without further ado, let me show you how to do this. Alrighty guys, now the reason I'm recording this tutorial is because someone was asking in the comments, what if you want to replace your mannequin with a metahuman, but you've got quite a lot of functionality built into your BP third person character already, because it didn't seem feasible to them to copy all of that functionality over to a metahuman's blueprint. Or to use live retarget is also not a great option. So I'm going to show you how to take a character such as this BP third person character here that has quite a lot of functionality built into it already. Basically, this is from my weapons system tutorials, and this is all like picking up a weapon and swapping and firing and whatnot. So as you can see here, if I grab these weapons, I can fire. I've got burst fire and fully automatic, and I've also got this holstering system, and I've also got this animation montage, which is just another thing that's good to have in the blueprint to make sure that everything like this sort of thing works when you swap this out for a metahuman. So with that being said, let's go ahead and download a metahuman. So I'm going to click the cube plus icon and head to Quixel Bridge. And if I head on down to the metahumans tab in my metahumans here, what I've done is go onto the metahuman creator, and I've just selected a metahuman, this one here, Trey, and I've basically just done nothing to it. I've just saved this as is, and the reason is it gives me these options for quality here. So if I just went to the metahuman presets and selected the same metahuman here, you can see I've only got the option to download complete cinematic quality, and this is great if you want to have, for example, super high quality cinematics in your game and you want to use the full the full textures on this metahuman. They also have blend shapes on LOD0, and more bones in the face for animating the face. But if you're just, making your average game and you just need, pretty good looking character, there's no reason to have this level of quality. So I've created this one in the MetaHuman Creator, and I'm going to download it in high quality. Basically, what each of these qualities is the lower LODs of the cinematic version. Essentially, that's a very simplistic way to think of it. So high is just LOD 1 and down. Cinematic has LOD 0, and the thing about medium is it removes the first two LODs, and so the hair is just cards, there's no strands, and it doesn't look great, to be honest. High is already a massive jump down in the memory required. So if you're to look at the size map of the cinematic quality, it's roughly 1.1 gig. And if you change that to high, it jumps down to 220 megabytes. So it's quite a big jump down in the size map, and I'll show you that in a moment. So I'm going to select high here. I've already downloaded this one. If you haven't, it might take a while to generate, and then you can add it to your project. You'll know it's been added to your project because you'll have this Metahumans folder. And if I go in here, I've got the blueprint here. The first time you try to open this up, you should be prompted to enable some missing plugins. So enable all missing plugins, and then when prompted, you can restart the editor. And now that the editor has fired back up, I'm going to show you what I was talking about there. So if I right click on my Metahumans blueprint and go to the size map, you'll see it says up here 221.6 megabytes. And this is significantly lower, about 900 megabytes less than the full cinematic quality Metahuman. But if we have a look at this Metahuman, it is still very, very high quality. Like, this is more than enough for pretty much any game. If you wanted to have super high quality cinematics, you might want to use that cinematic quality Metahuman, just, you know, for your level sequences. But this is more than enough for most games. And I'm even going to lock the LOD to LOD 0 once we transfer this over to our third-person character blueprint, because the hair cards and the lower LODs, they don't look great. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it depends on what kind of game you're making. If you've got several of these metahumans, you might want to make use of the LODs, but I might, you know, reduce the screen space sort of threshold for these LODs. But anyway, for the record, I'm doing this in Unreal Engine 5.5, and I have encountered some problems with retargeting Manny's animation blueprint in 5.5, but I'm doing it in 5.5 anyway, just in case anyone else is wanting to do this and follow along in 5.5. So I can show you my workarounds for the problems that I've found. So let's go ahead and retarget the animation blueprint for this character onto our metahuman. So I'm going to head to characters, and I'm going to make a new folder in here for my metahumans animations. I'm going to call mine tray, and inside tray, I'm going to create another new folder and call it animations. And now I'm going to retarget the animation blueprint for my character. So if you want to be sure of which one you're using, you can select the mesh in your third person character, and you can head to the anim class over here and browse to the anim class. So this is the animation blueprint for my third person character. If I right click on this and go to retarget animations, you'll see that ABP Manny does not turn up here, and this is a very strange issue indeed that I've found only in 5.5, and it's really strange. You can even click this and allow incompatible skeletons, which you would think would just make everything turn up, but ABP Manny is still not in here. So I found a workaround for this. If you are not working in 5.5, you don't have to worry about this. You simply have to choose your source skeletal mesh, so the mesh that you're retargeting from, and your target skeletal mesh, which will be the preview version of the skeletal mesh that your metahuman's body is using. So for me, it's going to be this one. But as I said, we cannot see ABP Manny there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So I've got a duplicate of the animation blueprint. I am also going to find the skeleton of this character. So you can open the animation blueprint and then click this little skeleton icon up here, and it will take you straight to the skeleton here. And then I'm going to hit the browse icon over here and browse to that skeleton. So I've got SK Mannequin there. I can duplicate that. And now what I'm going to do is assign this duplicate skeleton to the duplicate animation blueprint. So I'm going to browse back to that animation blueprint. I'm going to right click on it, assign skeleton, and I'm going to assign the duplicate, where is it? SK Mannequin 1, the duplicate that we made, and hit accept. And now this duplicate animation blueprint has been assigned that duplicate skeleton. It will now appear on the retarget pop up. So if we right click here and retarget animations and we select SK Manny, where is he? SKM Manny, you'll see that ABP Manny 1 now turns up on here. Very, very strange bug. Not sure if it's a bug or if it's Epic Games trying to stop us from, for trying to make things harder for beginners, because I do think they do that sometimes. But here we are. So you need to select your target skeletal mesh, and just to confirm which target skeletal mesh you're going to want to select, you want to go to your MetaHumans blueprint and select the body, and over here you'll see the skeletal mesh asset is M tall normal weight body. And if you drop this down, you'll see that there is a preview version, M tall normal weight body preview. So whatever skeletal mesh your metahuman is using on their body, you want to choose the preview version of that. So I am going to right click here, retarget animations, select SKM Manny, and select M tall normal weight body preview, the preview version of the skeletal mesh my metahuman is using for their body. Now you'll see some errors here about the IK, and we're not going to fix all those errors. We're just going to make the foot IK work for today, and everything else, you'll kind of want to add to your character anyway. So I'm going to retarget ABP Manny 1 here. I'm going to hit export animations. I'm going to put this in my tray animations folder right here, and the only thing I'm going to do here is search for MM and replace it with tray, and that's so that Manny's MM animations will just be sort of prefixed with tray. I'm going to hit export, leave these as default, and hit export. Once those have retargeted, it will take you to the folder they've been retargeted into. The first thing I'm going to do in here is rename ABP Manny 1 to ABP tray. I'm going to hit save all to avoid crashing, and you'll notice that the land animation looks all whack here. So it used to be that when you retargeted these animations, the land animation did not carry over the additive settings, and you would get something like this when you jumped and you landed. You would get something like this happening, which is super, super whack. If you look down here, I'm just going to pause that. It's a little bit distracting. If you look down here in the additive settings, you'll see that they actually have carried over, but it still looks weird. And literally all you have to do is change one of these settings, say local space to no additive, and then change it back to local space, and it will be fixed like so. Sorry, fighting with my camera speed there. If I hit play, you'll see that that is fixed. If you are using 5.4 or 5.3 and your additive settings are different in your land animation, you want to go ahead and make them thus: local space, frame from this animation, and frame 26, and that should fix that weird scaling. It's an additive animation. It needs to be set up correctly to add to the locomotion animations. Yeah, I won't go any more into that. But anyway, so we've fixed that, and we have our animations, and we have our animation blueprint, like so. So let's go ahead and start moving the functionality for this metahuman into our third-person character here. The first thing we need to do is change the mesh here with the root skeletal mesh of our metahuman, which is our body. You don't need to worry about this root. We're going to ignore that scene root. Body is essentially the root skeletal mesh. So here again, we can browse to this skeletal mesh, M tall normal weight body, and then in my third person character, with the mesh selected, I'm going to click this little arrow icon over here and set that skeletal mesh as the skeletal mesh of our character. Now, this is animated, but this is using Manny's animation blueprint. We do not want to use that. We actually want to change this over to our ABP tray and use our new animation blueprint. We want to avoid any like scaling issues with the mesh and whatnot. This animation blueprint is assigned to the correct skeleton. that this mesh is using. The next thing we can do is go to our MetaHumans blueprint and select everything except for the body. So everything under the body, including any components down here, such as LOD sync. Hit Control C to copy, go back to our third person character, click in the components tab here and Control V to paste these in. And then what we're going to do is select the feet, the legs, the face, and the torso, and we are going to drag those onto the mesh and parent them to the mesh. And then over here in the details panel, we can zero out the location and the rotation, and you'll see that they're in the right location, but they are not really following the animations of the body. So that can be the next thing we'll fix. Let's go to the construction script, and I'm going to select the torso, the feet, and the legs, and I'm going to drag them out like so. I'm also going to drag out the mesh, and off of mesh, I'm going to set leader pose component. And actually, this is going to be the new leader bone component, and the legs, the feet, and the torso will plug into the target like so. If we hit compile now, you'll see that these will now follow the animation blueprint of the sort of root skeletal mesh there, the arms and the legs. Nice. The next thing I'm going to do is select LOD sync here and change forced LOD to 0. And that's just because I'm not really messing with the hair LODs as part of this tutorial, and I want the hair to stay at the lowest LOD because it looks really nice. And hit compile and save. And just in case you are going to use the hair LODs, what we might do is go to BP tray here and look for hair LOD setup. And we're going to basically copy this function into our BP third person character. So let's start by taking the name hair LOD setup and Control C that, go to your third person character, add a function, paste in the name, hair LOD setup, go back to your MetaHumans blueprint and take everything from here, Control C to copy, and paste it into your hair LOD setup function in your third person character, connect the execution pin, and let's hit compile to see if we got any errors here. We do, we have eyelashes material slot. Now material slot name, this is a variable in here and it is literally just a name, so we can just right click on that and create variable eyelashes high LOD material slot. We'll create that variable, hit compile, and what have we got? So this is high LOD and material slot, so we just need to right click both of these and create these and hit compile, and those errors should go away. And yeah, we're pretty much there. Now, because we replaced the mesh with this skeletal mesh and we didn't rename it or anything, and we didn't use body, we just swapped out the mesh, and everything in your animation blueprint that, for example, a animation montage here that plays on the mesh, that should all still work accordingly. And all of the animations that animation blueprint uses, they should all be in that folder. So I've got some here from the anim starter pack, and these are all working very, very nice. But what we do need to do is create sockets on our skeleton. For example, if you're picking up weapons and you want to be able to do that on your new character, we need to create the sockets in the skeleton for that. So I'm going to find the mesh again, and I'm going to open it and I'm going to hit this skeleton button to browse to the skeleton, and we've got the MetaHuman base skeleton here, and the first thing you'll notice is that it's just a pair of trousers. So we are going to click preview mesh here and change it to M tall normal weight body preview, or the preview version of whatever skeletal mesh your MetaHuman is using, and then I'm going to click apply to asset down here like so. Let's go ahead and add the sockets to this skeleton so that we can pick up weapons and whatnot. So I'm going to go to characters, mannequins, and meshes, and open SK Mannequin right here. And SK Mannequin will have all of the sockets that you've added on your character for picking up weapons and whatnot. And we literally just need to add these to our MetaHuman. So I'm not going to go through every socket here. I might speed this up, but I'll show you how to do a couple, and then you'll know how to do it. You can go through and change all the sockets. So basically, you can just work your way down the hierarchy here and look for any sockets that you've created. So pistol A holster here, if I add a preview asset, pistols A to it, you'll see it's just the holster socket on the hip there. So what I'm going to get from here is mainly the name of the socket, obviously what the socket is parented to. So this one's parented to the pelvis, and I'm also going to look at the relative scale that I set on that socket, which is used to, scale the weapon when it's attached to that socket. So this is 0.9, 0.9, 0.9. I'm going to single click on pistols A holster and Control C the name, and then I'm going to go to my MetaHuman skeleton and create this socket on the pelvis with the same scale. So head to the MetaHuman base skeleton, right click on the pelvis, add socket, single click that socket and paste in the name. The name has to be exactly correct, and then I am going to change the scale to 0.9, 0.9, 0.9. I am also going to add the preview asset, pistols A, and then I'm going to move that pistol into the correct position, more or less. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm not going to spend all day on this. I am just going to put it more or less in the right position like so that we can see that it's working correctly. Now I'm going to do the same with my assault rifle holsters on the back here. And now that I've done my assault rifle or my sort of holster sockets, I'm going to do my grip point sockets for my holding different weapons. So I'm not going to do shotgun because I haven't got any shotguns to pick up in this level. I also haven't set up the socket for that weapon. I'm just going to do these three weapons here. So I'm going to find my pistols A socket to start with. I'm going to add the pistols A skeletal mesh to the socket to sort of see the position here. And what I might also do is change the preview animation to my UE5 aim pistol. That's my pistol animation. Actually, that one doesn't look great. I do have a equip pistol, idle pistol. So that aim one I just raised up. It's just a placeholder aiming animation. All of these animations are essentially placeholders. So sort of this is the position that I'll be looking for. I'm going to single click pistols A socket, Control C that, head to my base skeleton, look for the right hand, add a socket, rename it to pistols A socket, add the preview asset, pistols A, and change the scale 0.9, 0.9, 0.9. And I'm also going to go ahead and get a preview animation UE5 idle pistol, and I'm going to pause it, take it back to the first frame, and then I'm also going to change so I'll rotate this a little bit, but then I'm going to change this to world space rather than object space. It just makes it a little bit easier to adjust. And once again, I'm not going to go crazy trying to get this into the right position, but I'll just put it more or less in the right position like so. And I might quickly, as a bonus, show you how to edit these animations at the end so that they line up a little bit better with your fancy new skeletal mesh. So with pistons A more or less in the right position, I'm going to right click on that socket and remove attached assets. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same for my assault rifle A socket. Copy the name, check the scale, head over to my new skeleton, add a socket, single click the socket and paste in the name, add the preview asset, which is going to be assault rifle A for this one. I'll add a preview animation. I'm pretty sure it's idle rifle iron sights. There we go. And I'll keep that animation paused. Put this, check the scale, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8. Put that more or less into the right position in the hand. And the hand is not going to be, it's not going to be exact. It's not going to be the same. There's also a kink in the wrist here, and this is from retargeting the animations. So we'll try and fix that because that's not ideal. But I'll get the socket in more or less the right position, and now I'll go ahead and do my assault rifle B socket as well. My mistake. I am using assault rifle A socket for both assault rifle A and assault rifle B because they're pretty much the same. So those sockets created now, I should be able to hit play and use this character. Montage is working. All of the different weapons are able to attach to their respective sockets. Very nice. Now, one thing you might notice is that your foot IK is not working, and I do want to make sure that your foot IK is working for you. By the way, those animations don't have the twist on the left wrist like they did in the preview, so that's good. Nice. If your foot IK is not working, such as your 2 feet are sort of side by side and not like this, then I'm going to show you how to fix that. And I'm also just going to basically make a little ramp here very quickly so that we have something to test the foot IK on. So I'm just going to double check if mine is working. My foot IK is not working. So we do need to fix this, and it's not too hard. Basically, we need to add some virtual bones for the foot IK in the skeleton, and we also need to sort of select those in the animation blueprint. So if we go to, I'm just going to close some of this stuff. And I don't need my Metahumans blueprint anymore. By the way, the hair lod setup, I did forget to call this function, so this is a good reminder. We created the hair lod setup function, but we need to call it on event begin play. So on event begin play, just plug in hair lod setup right before caster player controller, like so. Nice. Okay, foot IK. What we need to do is, I don't know if I had the skeleton open. I do need to find the skeleton again. So opening the skeletal mesh and browsing to the skeleton, like so. We do need this skeleton. So what we need to do is first right click on the root here and add a virtual bone. And the first one, you can select the target bone as the root. And I'm going to rename this, and I'm just going to call it foot root, or IK underscore foot underscore root. And then I'm going to right click on that one. I'm going to add a virtual bone, and I'm going to find foot R. And I'm also going to right click on IK foot root and add a virtual bone and find foot L. And I'm not going to rename these. I'll just leave these as IK foot root foot L and foot root foot R. And that is all we need to get the foot IK working. So we now need to go to the animation blueprint, which if we select our mesh here, we can browse to it over here, ABP tray, and open up ABP tray. And then if we head to the enum graph, you should have, see, that is why mine is mine is sort of like this. You will have a node here from the control rig that controls the foot IK. So I've removed it when I set this up. I removed it just to keep things simple. For the purposes of the tutorial, this is a problem. I do need to get this back. So what I'm going to do is very quickly create a blank third-person template project. Okay, so all I've done is create a blank third-person template project. I'm going to open ABP Manny, and you shouldn't have to do this if you've still got the foot IK in your animation blueprint, but if you head to the enum graph of ABP Manny, you'll see this control rig and should do IK trace. So this is for your foot IK. I am going to control C this and then head back to my project and then paste this in to my animation blueprint here. And actually, if you've got a layered blend per bone, you want this to be before your layered blend per bone and on the sort of lower body animation. So I've got upper body animations here. I'm going to put this right here before my layered blend per bone and blend it into my lower body animations. But if I hit compile here, you'll see this is working on this guy. This is my ABP Manny. Sorry guys, it's been a long day, but we'll get there. I don't actually want to put this into my ABP Manny. I want to put it into my ABP tray, my Metahumans animation blueprint. And I'll put it right here between main states and my layered blend per bone. If you don't have a layered blend per bone, you would just want to put this over here and plug it in right in front of your output pose. But we've got some lower body animations here. And now when I hit compile, you'll see that his feet are now side by side. And if I hit play, then this is maybe more like what you could have been experiencing before we fix this up. So the foot IK is working there, but it's not really working, the rest of the time. So we need to fix that. We've added the virtual bones. We've added this control rig node to our animation blueprint. And now what we need to do is double click on it and open it up. And now we've got the control rig here. You might be seeing Manny over here, which can be a bit confusing. We'll head to the preview scene here and we'll change the preview mesh to the preview version of our skeletal mesh from our metahuman. So for me, mtool normal weight body preview, we'll change it like that. And you may not see the virtual bones that we've created here. So what you might need to do is right click in here and go to refresh. So in the rig hierarchy, right click and go to refresh and select the mesh. And the mesh that you'll select is either of these, the skeletal mesh that your metahuman is using. So I'll select that one, and now I should be able to see my IK for the foot left and foot right here. Then what we need to do is we'll start at the top here, and you'll see these names of the foot IK bones are in red because they don't exist in the metahuman's skeleton. So what we need to do is drop these down and change these to the respective virtual bones for the left and the right feet. So I've noticed that these can be a bit funky, and you kind of need to click them, and then you start typing, it'll disappear, but you click them once more and start typing, and then they'll work. So if you're clicking on these and they're not really working, they're just a bit fiddly. I'm going to change this to virtual bone IK foot root foot L. and I'm going to change this one. Once again, need to click a couple of times and change it to the virtual bone for the foot right. We're going to work our way down here through these sections. So we'll go to this step 2. And one thing you need to do in here to get this to work is change this bias. And I found that a value of 1.5 has worked well for me, but this is basically multiplying the offset. It basically multiplies the effect of the foot IK. So I found that with this on 0, it did not work, and I changed this and I found that 1.5 is a good value. Working our way down here, you're going to see more name inputs here in red, and we just need to go through and change all of these to the respective virtual bones that we created. Virtual bone foot right, this can remain as pelvis, and down here, these ones will be the last ones we need to change. Virtual bone foot left and virtual bone foot right. And now, if we go to our animation blueprint, you'll see that our character is now standing normally. And if I hit play, he's standing normally, he's running around normally, and he has the foot IK on slopes like this. Nice. So that is it. This is all working. I can pick up different weapons, I can fire them, I can switch between them. Everything is working as it did in my original project, but now he is swapped with a metahuman, and it's all looking very, very nice. So last but not least, I'll give you guys a bit of a bonus. I've shown this before, but I'm just going to show how to edit animations to make them look a little bit more accurate, a little bit nicer. So I'll just do it with the pistol animation. Basically, what I want to do is go to my tray and animations folder, and I'm going to find my UE5 idle pistol, open this up, and if you don't have the right skeletal mesh showing here, you can change it up here, preview mesh. You could change it to this one, for example, and you could hit apply to asset if you wanted this to permanently apply to the skeleton. And then you'll be seeing sort of fingers in all their glory, the hands and arms in all their glory. Now, we don't have a pistol here, so let's first go to the skeleton tree. We'll find the pistol A socket on the right hand. Pistol A socket, right click, add preview asset. I'm going to add pistols A to that, and then I'm going to pause this animation and take it back to the first frame like so, and now we can begin to edit this animation. So I found that the best way is to select the bones you want to move in the skeleton tree over here. You can go to show character bones and all hierarchy, and it's just a bit messy with all the fingers. You can also change this from all hierarchy to selected only, and then it will just show the bones that you've selected. Oh, there we go. But I found you don't need this visual representation at all. You can just find the bones you want to change and you'll rotate them. So I am just going to actually change that to none, not show any, and I'm going to start fiddling around with the bones here. So the grip of the pistol's more or less like nestled into his hand quite well here. I don't really want to change that. I just want to start fiddling with the fingers. So the thumb, for starters, is poking through the gun there like that. Let's start with the thumb. So I'm going to find the right hand, and I'm going to find the thumb. There's a lot of extra bones in here, ring, thumb, and we can start messing around with that. Now, FYI, if you're moving fingers in these animations, I highly recommend leaving this on object space. You can switch this to world space, and then the widget is kind of world aligned, and you can use this, but do just, use it sort of sparingly when it helps you. I don't recommend using it a lot, especially with these lower joints of the fingers, because they will sort of get out of alignment with the hand. So for the most part. Keep this on object space. I might change thumb 1 and then move down to thumb 2 here and start fiddling with that. Thumb 3, and definitely want that sort of more along the gun like so. And it's also looking a bit twisted. So I might just leave it like that for now. That's a bit better. And the trigger finger, I'm not going to go through every finger and change this entire animation, but I'll just give you a quick example of how to clean this up a little bit. So let's find the right index finger, index 1R, and I might just work my way up, index 2R, and might put that on the trigger like so. You might want to go through all of these fingers, the middle, the ring, and the pinky, and sort of wrap them around the grip a little more. But I'm just going to move the thumb and the index as an example here. And I'm also going to put this left hand a little bit more into position. So I'm not going to worry about the rotation of the hand too much. I'm just going to position the whole arm. So I'm going to find the left upper arm. And this is an example of where world space is handy. So I'm going to change this to world space, and I'm just going to rotate it and bring it in a little bit like so. Rest it under there. And the thumbs are clipping quite badly. So I might just fiddle with the thumb as well. But with that hand more or less in the right position, let's just fiddle with the thumb as well, so it looks a little bit better. Get this thumb, and once again change this to object space when you're messing with fingers. This will look a bit weird. It's not going to look great. You would have to spend quite a bit of time to sort of get this looking more natural. I've spent hours and hours playing with animations like this just to get them to look right. Yeah, that thumb is, I mean, the problem really is the rotation of the hand. So I would probably want to actually take the left hand, and I'd sort of want to turn it out a little bit like this, and sort of change my starting point to make that thumb a bit more natural. It does look pretty bad, I grant you, but like I said, it's just time and dedication and how good you want these animations to look. I am going to just try and unbreak that thumb a little bit because it looked really bad. This is on world space again, so I want to be careful and change this back to object space. The thumb looks kind of less broken there, but it's clipping through the other thumb. But anyway, you get the idea. Fiddle with the bones, move them around, make sure the animation is paused while you do so, and then probably the easiest way to lock all this in is click in the skeleton tree, hit Control A to select all, and then hit key to add a keyframe at the start of this animation. And now if I hit play, the animation is going to move around quite a bit because that's just part of the animation. You probably want to just lock the left hand with left hand IK anyway. And I can save that and hit play, and I'm not really sure if I've got left hand IK set up on this project. I do think that I do. I do. So my left hand is kind of locked to the pistol there. But you can see that those changes are in place. You can see, for example, that his right index finger is now going through the trigger guard properly, like so. Nice. So that's it, guys. That's how you replace your character with a metahuman. If you've already got a bunch of functionality in your character and you want to swap your BP third-person character out for a metahuman, that is how you might do it. If this tutorial has been of any use or value to you whatsoever, please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.